Hello, buddy. Welcome back to the Tin Man's Corner channel. I'm your host, Jeffrey Tin Man Taylor, and today I'm reading a chapter out of the They Saw Sasquatch book. And this one's short. It don't have no pictures in it. But the date that this occurred was September of 2008. Location is Galice Mining District near the Rogue River. So without further ado, let's get into this story, shall we? When a friend told me about your offer to put Bigfoot stories in print, I figured I'd finally report what until now I've only shared with a very few fellow miners in my district. Please do not publish my name because I don't want people to start trumping around my claim. I go through too much work keeping it private anyway without adding to it. Thank you. I'm glad he told that to the people making this book because I know not everybody don't want to be recognized. They just want to be anonymous because they're afraid of being ridiculed by some of their peers. I have been a gold miner for most of 47 years now, and it earns about half of my income. I also have a wood cutting and firewood business, so most of my living is earned in the outdoors. I also sell some Christmas trees during the season, so with all my outdoor knowledge, I am very used to the tracks and signs made by the local animal population. When running my sluice, even though the work is constant, it is also boring, and I find myself to be fully familiar with the steep valley in which my gold claim sits. Seldom do I ever see humans, as my claim is not easy to get to, and I have rarely invited anyone to visit, as most of us in this line of work prefer it this way. Besides, the trail to my site is rugged, and I have made it even more difficult to find by adding barriers and fortifications to inhibit trespassers. That's a good idea. For 2 years now, I have had visitors that have kept me on guard, and sometimes at first I was afraid of a physical attack. After many close encounters, such as the occasional boulder crashing down from above, once a larger rock that must have been well over 1,000 pounds because I couldn't budge it with a 5-foot steel pry bar, came crushing down and landed right on top of a crudely constructed storage shed I had built on site. It destroyed the small building, crushed 2 fuel cans, and scattered a 2-month supply of food staples into the creek. A little advice: always build a shed away from mountainsides because you never know when a rock would just break right off or a mudslide might happen. Always build it near a valley area, if you can, that is. I was in the creek which this happened, and my reaction was to grab my revolver, which I constantly wear, and I quickly fired several shots up the slope where the rock came from. After I reloaded my gun, I changed out of my rubber boots and then hiking shoes. I climbed the steep slope, grabbing and grasping bushes, shrubs, and trees, following the skid trail until I located the source from where the huge rock had laid. The hole where this rock had came from was a depression that was over 1.5 feet deep. I don't know 3 men that together could have dislodged that rock. I scratched for signs of a pry mark or signs of boots, and there was a print in the wet soil where the boulder had been that looked like a huge bare human footprint, but yet it was wider. It was about as long as my size 11 boot print. Golly, yep, that's a big one for you. And when I placed my boot over it, the print was slightly longer and twice as wide. The toes were similar to a human, but the ends of the toes seemed to be broken as if they had large claws that broke the soil at the tips of the imprint. I admit that when it happened, I was angry, thinking that somebody had tried to kill me and wreck my camp. I realized that this was not a human. I got over my anger and was able to understand that I myself was the trespasser. That event happened about September 2008, and since then, I have several times caught a glimpse of what appears to be 2 individual dark brown creatures. Never together, but each sighting was at a time when I was moving some equipment or unclogging a blocked waterway and they appeared to be just deserving. One seems to be substantially larger and a darker brown, and the smaller one is a lighter brown, and I suppose if standing straight would be about 6 feet, where the larger one would be about 8 feet or more. Golly, you don't want to get on the 8 feet one's bad side because you might get crushed and murdered. You see one of those, you better run. I have never heard a growl, but over the last 2 years, I have many times heard loud squeals on occasion, and quite often I hear sounds like a stick banging against a tree, and even more often a louder sound like a large branch being banged against a hollow tree or log. Then another similar sound answers from somewhere else. RJ, Galice Mining District. Well, if this guy RJ is watching, I doubt he is, but if he is, I read your story out of the book and I believe you. Bigfoot's probably got tired of people going through the wooded areas setting up gold claims, and they try to scare you off, but they didn't have to damage the shed. I mean, that's just uncalled for. But I'm just glad that they did not decide to go down and attack him, because he said he has a revolver on him on all times. One of them Bigfoots would have been dead in the head if they got any closer. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on post notifications for more book reading content like this. This has been another successful installment of the Tin Man's Corner channel. I'm your host, Jeffrey Tin Man Taylor. I said it's a wrap, and have a nice day, y'all.